All right, welcome to the Hair Dice Show. We are in Austin, Texas at the beautiful Red Stella Salon. Thank you guys so much for joining me this morning. Hair Dice is fun games for serious stylists, and we're gonna play the game today in 3 rounds. First, we're gonna play a trivia game. Then we're gonna go on to have tea time, and then play the actual Hair Dice game. But first, let me introduce my stylist, our stylist. I'm the guest here, really.
I'm Jess. I first went to beauty school in 2016, but I've been doing hair since I was 14 for all my friends and family, so it feels like forever. And I love doing fashion colors, so vivids, rainbows, prisms, that is my jam.
I love it.
Awesome. My name's Alicia. I've been doing hair for like close to 18 years now. I really like doing everything. I love like color corrections and like formulating like the perfect red for like the right skin tone, skin and eye tone. But yeah, I think that I definitely do not do cool prisms like you, but I do about everything else.
And Alicia is the owner of Red Stella.
And I am.
Yes.
I'm Natasha. I've been behind the chair for about 14 years now. Very much a lived-in stylist. So lived in highlights, balayage, definitely more of a foil girl.
So our first round is going to be Hair Dice Trivia. I've got my cards here, and we have 5 categories. Film and stage, which is hair pivotal moments in plays and movies. State board, pop culture, literature and music, and the world history of hair, which is hair all around the world and throughout history. 5 categories. First person to roll the die, that will determine our category. If you roll a 6, then you get to pick any of the categories.
Ooh.
Who wants to go first?
Me.
All right, and then, yeah, you can throw it in the box, I think.
Number 6. All right, we are doing state board for sure.
State board. All right.
Confident on those. Sorry.
All right, so you pick the question, but it's up for anybody to answer, and we've got our buzzers ready. Sebum and sweat are both secreted from your skin, and together they form the...
Pick me! The acid mantle.
The acid mantle. You get the card. All right, you get to roll again.
That's exciting.
We're just going to go through all the stages.
Jess is
Yeah.
really hard.
Nope, different one.
Okay, number
one
one.
now.
What was that one?
That's going to be film and stage.
Okay.
In the 1992 film, in a 1992 film, Denzel Washington recreates Malcom X, receiving this chemical service.
You got a relaxer.
He did get a relaxer.
Oh, I
That's
do.
the one.
Gotta get it back.
Give us a chance.
Oh, we got another
Another
one. Film and stage again. I know you already know this one. All right. What is the first 3D animated movie to feature the entire curl chart from 1 to 4C?
Encanto, we just talked
I
about
know, but I
it.
forgot the name of the movie already.
I haven't seen it. I like read about it. I'm like,
It's a cute movie.
Seems like every Disney movie since like 2000, they invent new software to model hair.
Mhm.
They did it for Tangled, they did it for Brave, they did it for The Incredibles.
I have a fun fact. Did you know that Wella created the color for the girl in Brave?
Oh.
No, I didn't know
That is
that,
cool.
but it might end up in this deck. Well, you know, it looks like a Wella color.
Mhm.
It really does. All right, you get to roll the dice again.
Oh my god, you guys. We're going to get a different number this time. 3.
So this one's pop culture, but also kind of film related too. Definitely film related. George Lucas was inspired by pictures of soldaderas. You already know it.
Star Wars, Merida May the
These
4th.
female Mexican revolutionary soldiers with their hair on buns on either side of their head.
Princess Leia.
It's Princess Leia.
Buns on the side, George.
Buns.
Oh, I see.
I'm like literally like Star Wars
Oh my
tattoo. Star Wars tattoo. Like multiples. Like if I didn't get this right, I
Yeah,
would
if
feel
you
so
didn't
bad.
get it
Yeah.
You're the
we'll
ringer.
let you have this one.
Yeah.
it's important.
I'm like,
I
sorry
really-
guys.
I was gonna, but I was like, no, she.
You're like,
She's
she,
a-
she literally needs this.
She can't lose her Star Wars cred.
Like this is
the
literally if someone else answered a Star Wars question, guys, who
I
am
didn't want to
I?
start that war.
4.
literature and music.
Ooh, a different cat. All right, let's see.
Yeah. According to George Thorogood, you have to do this before getting a real job. Oh, is it her
Mine's
first?
louder.
Yours
You
was
can go.
louder.
You go.
Let's go for
Get
it.
a haircut.
Get a haircut. Absolutely.
Yeah.
card for
I
you.
got a card.
Yes.
Right. 4 again.
Another
Ooh.
4. All right, complete this lyric from Ariana Grande's 7 Rings. You like my hair?
Gee, thanks. Just bought it.
That's it.
1. Film and stage.
Name the only actor to play a hair artist in 2 different Tim Burton movies. We talked about this morning.
Yeah.
Johnny Depp. You got it. We were literally
We'll
talking
share
about
it.
this
Yeah.
earlier.
6.
Ooh, you get to pick.
You get to pick.
Yeah, let's do world history.
This beauty company began in Germany in 1880, making. She's so fast.
I'm like, I know here. Wella started
It was
it.
Wella.
Making wig lace, not even hair color.
Yeah, that's right.
For the record, everybody knew it. I knew.
Yeah.
We do love the Wella here. Yeah.
5. The barber pole dates back to what ancient medical? I think that was Alicia first.
That was Alicia.
Okay, wait. It dates back. So I just had to do it.
She's like,
now I'm gonna
To
No.
what ancient medical practice?
It's like blood drawing or
Bloodletting.
bloodletting.
Bloodletting. Yeah, you got it.
And dental
That's
work
it.
too.
Oh yeah.
And dental work,
yeah, they used to
surgery.
do, like oral surgeries.
Yeah.
Can you imagine going to your barber being like, just take out these teeth?
Y'all got it, but
6. I'm feeling the world history.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Victory rolls are a style made popular by Hollywood starlets during what decade?
1940s.
You got it.
1.
1.
Stage.
Thanks to this movie that largely takes place at a law school, we definitely know not to prematurely shampoo hair permed with thioglycolates. Oh,
Legally
yeah.
blonde.
Legally blonde. Okay, so we'll do one more.
5.
Who invented the texture classification system? Labeling.
1 through 4, right? That
Yes.
was Walker.
Yep.
Andre Walker.
Andre Walker.
Wow, good one.
Nailed it. I do want to give a shout out to my newest coffee partner, the Awesome Coffee Club. And 100% of the profits go to charities. They do sustainable practices and pay fair wages to their farmers. You can use the code CosmoDad for 10% off your first order and help support the show. So now we're going to spill the tea. Just have an opportunity to share some heartwarming, life-changing, absolutely bonkers stories. Just the sort of things that we deal with often as stylists. Anyone want to go first?
Well, we were trying to decide on like what we wanted to share, and it seems like, of course, like the crazy stories come to mind first. Literally was not in the salon when this happened, so I get a call around like 8 p.m. at night, and they're like, "We have a situation," and I was like, "Yes, what's going on?" And they're like, "Literally, the client has run to her car without paying. She did not like her hair. The stylist was trying to, talk to me about it. Said, don't worry, wait right here. I'm going to call the owner. We're going to get this worked out for you." Walked to the back, and as she walked to the back, the client literally ran out the front door, got in her car, and sped away. And everyone is like, what do we do? And it was a huge color correction. She had been working on her for like 8 hours. My stylist that performed the service did an amazing job with like making her sign a contract or agreeing to the services, making sure she explained every single step. And it's just one of those situations where the client like just doesn't want to listen. Like no matter, even if you did like the audible, kinesthetic, visual, like whole consultation throughout the thing, they just like don't want to hear you in the end.
Yeah.
And so then they don't want to pay, and so then she left. But thankfully, my husband was able to track her down. She ended up calling by 10 p.m. She paid her bill. She was like, "I'm so sorry. I should have talked to you first. I just didn't know what to do, so I ran." And I was like,
Her fight or flight was
You
like
it
this
is.
fucking flight.
That was
She like,
Quick.
well, her test strand literally melted off in 10 minutes. So she had agreed, like the stylist showed her, like, we're agreeing to not do blonde. I will complete your service if you're okay to like a light brown.
Like,
so it's
having colored hair is nice, but having hair is nicer.
yes.
yeah.
I say that to my blondes all the time. Like,
You got one?
Yeah, I think I got one. So it's not necessarily a story, but it's kind of like heartfelt in a sense. So I've been behind the chair for about 14 years now, and it's really cool to see family, like the family dynamic change as a hairdresser. So like having your client come in and they're single, then they start dating somebody, and then they get married and they have their children, and like it's just warming to see their lives change, and it's like their lives change with you. Or like them saying like they're trying to get pregnant, and then they're pregnant, and then they show me pictures of their baby, and it's just like I also have a couple clients, like they started seeing me when they were like 2 and 3 years old, and now they're like going into high school. I'm like, that is so
crazy,
wild.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
So
incredible.
I think that's like really cool to see, especially with being in the industry for a while, like just seeing your relationship build with the client, and then also like just their life change with yours, you know?
It's like probably one of my favorite things about being a stylist. And I was thinking about that too, because you meet with your clients almost more regularly than you even meet with your friends, because you're setting up their next appointment every 6 to 8 weeks. So some of them I've been seeing for 18 years, and it's like crazy to like be on that journey with them. I love that.
You were sharing a really good one earlier too.
Okay, before I worked here, I worked at a spa. I did mainly like facials, waxing, a lot of the more like Ayurvedic, holistic side of the beauty industry. And I was doing a facial and a head massage, and I found a lump, kind of on like the back side behind an ear. Didn't seem to be like too bad. It was kind of whatever. I had made a little note. But they came in the next month. They pre-booked, came back in. It was slightly larger. And I just asked, hey, have you noticed this area? It's kind of like a little, I called it a node. Obviously, we can't diagnose anything. There's a little something under the skin that was there maybe last month, but is a little larger, or at least hasn't dissipated.
Notice the change. Notice the change.
And she had mentioned that she had had some thinning hair. That was just kind of one of those things in the back of my mind. So I mentioned it to her. And it was kind of like a no big deal, just like, hey, have you noticed? And she was like, no, I haven't. Cool, maybe like get it checked out if you're thinking about it, noticing some things. Didn't see her for about a year. She had ended up having a surgery, had it removed, found out that it was a cancerous tumor. You know, this small mass.
So you saved her life.
The combination of this small lump and her thinning hair, and then the recommendation of like maybe getting it checked out, like no big deal, but like
That's incredible.
have it checked out by a professional. And then she ended up like, you know, going and saving her life, extending it.
That's incredible. That's awesome. I loved everybody's stories. Thank you for sharing. And now it's time for our actual hair dice game. So hair dice came about from teaching and being in color classes and the intense uncomfortability I would get from role playing, like we often do. So, all right, now you be the client and you be the stylist. And you get, best case scenario, you get the same old thing. They're like, I want some highlights.
Virgin hair.
Yeah, you're like, who has virgin hair? Like, I want a real situation. And I want, and the person who's playing the client doesn't necessarily get anything from the experience either. I wanted to make up some dice that will randomize a client. Anybody could walk in wanting any sort of color service anytime. And the physical conditions of their hair, as we all know, is going to affect the way that we formulate. So I had to build a client, their physical conditions, their desires, and what they're asking for. And so it's also designed that we can randomize everything, or if you're like, let's work on balayage today, you set the service to balayage and you roll all the other stuff. It's not like you have to randomize everything. What do you guys think? Should we start with one service or dive right in and start with at least two?
Let's just go in and get wild.
Let's
Yeah.
get
Balls to the walls.
Oliver color and highlights.
I guess as full. Oop, did I just turn that?
Ooh, starting
What
level
was it?
1.
Full density.
It's desired level 4.
Coarse
Again.
hair.
What is this, porosity?
Yep. They
Desired
want gold,
tone.
thank God.
Perfect.
That was, I'm pretty sure, I'll see on video it before. I think it was on 70. I don't know if I messed it up. Oh, and what was our previous chemical?
None.
None.
Wow.
Honestly, that's a dream.
Oh, so that means that our guest is coming in. They want all over color, but they do want to retain some lightness. Their natural level is as dark as brown as you get, but they haven't, whatever hair's on their head has never been colored. So that means that
Love it.
Send them to
Right?
Got you.
They're mostly white with some of that very dark in between, and they want a gold finish. They've got wavy hair, but for some reason they have really high porosity. On a scale of 1 to 5, it's pretty damaged. So that can also, I would interpret that as being that their hair's pretty long too.
Yeah.
That means that they probably have 3-4 years worth of growth. And they've just been growing out that natural.
No haircuts, bad shampoo and conditioner.
Probably, I want it to be long, so they never, yeah.
Okay, so if they are 70% gray, so they want gray full coverage because it's an all over color and some highlights in there. Their starting level is a 1.
So I mean, it's just their net 30% of their hair is black,
Yeah.
and the rest is white.
Their desired level is a 4. Is that for their all over color or is that for their highlight?
I'm thinking that's for their all over color. They're wanting to go dark, but not as dark as their natural level.
Okay.
So we should probably leave a highlight even lighter than a 4.
Of 6, more natural.
Right? Yes, at least 2 levels lighter.
Yeah.
Perfect desired tone. It's gold. Yeah, how would you formulate this?
I would almost have it be a 2-step, especially if they have long hair. Like if it's long hair and it's 70% gray and they're wanting highlights, maybe doing a true like all over color first, or do the all over color and then depending on how much of a highlight they want, maybe starting off with like a spill in through the front, because then I would be able to achieve it all. But to where if they wanted like a full highlight and all of their gray covered, then I think I would probably do a 2-step process.
And I'm picturing somebody, if we're talking they're 70% gray, they're probably white, like through here.
Yeah.
And so the most of the color that's left is back here. And let's just say they want like just some modern highlights, probably like a little bit of a balayage flare, but not like a traditional full.
So then you could probably just throw in a couple and then do it
Yeah.
in one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just depends on, like you said, what exactly they're looking
Yeah.
for. Yeah.
I would think that I would almost try to treat the highlights like lowlights. Like I'd come back with like a 6, come in with a 6 first and just basically low light their hair, but with a highlight placement, and then do.
Did you go through with the permanent on that?
With a permanent, so I can get that gray covered, and then do roots to ends. Probably a 4 gold would be fine.
So for my formula, I would, if they're wanting a 4, I'd probably do like a 4-stroke 0, like 0.75 ounces of that, and then go in with like a 4-stroke 3, 0.25 ounces of that to get that gold I'm looking for. So that that way it's not so hollow.
That's a good one.
And they actually make, I think, like don't they have a 4-stroke 03? So you don't even have to make it too.
Yeah, you could totally do that. And would you worry about? Is their gray coverage still like 4-4? Would it be like
We do have a 4-4-stroke 0, but we also have a 4-stroke 0. With their density being as full as what it is, maybe I would go in with a 4-4-stroke. Well, but their porosity's bad.
So it would also be something like, okay, we want to cover it all, but how often do we want the maintenance, right? Because doing something where we're blending the grays is going to be a little more forgiving, and they can wear it a lot longer than doing something that's full permanent, right? Where if they truly have 70% gray, in like 2 or 3 weeks, you can see that white line of demarcation.
That's a really great
little
point.
bit.
You're gonna see that.
You're gonna see it
new
real
growth
quick.
so fast. So,
So I guess that's a question too that you need to ask them is like how often are you willing to come in to achieve this look?
Because that'll make a huge difference. Yeah, if they're like, hey, every like 8 to 12 weeks is all you're gonna see me, I would probably not do permanent color because they're not gonna be happy.
Yeah,
like
Or
they're
you
gonna come
think-
in
and that
halfway
dark
through.
if they're 70% gray.
What about just like a heavy low light, mid light situation?
Yeah,
It's
that's
just
probably
Yeah, I
all
would
flat.
probably go through and blend it at least in the spill, at least where they're
Yeah.
gonna see that, and
Yeah.
probably throughout the front. But
That's where I
same
thought you were
thing, like,
headed. Out of all of those, what do you think is the best option for our prospective guest? I'm kind of on the side of I didn't even think of that until you mentioned it. Just like a low light, mid light situation.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I would
probably just like delete the all over color just in general.
Yeah, I
and
was
do,
gonna
like, a
say it
highlight
depends
low light.
on fully what she wants, but like this alone, that 70%, and knowing she wants to go from the 1 to the 4, I would probably suggest a little heavier, that we do more of the low light, highlight, or mid light situation just for blending. Someone that wants something a little more
low maintenance.
Yeah. Which I feel like is what we see. Like they want to look good but natural.
Of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Maybe to top it all off, like a gloss for gray blending. Like you could even come in with like the Illumina. Will Illumina do gray blending?
Well, Color Touch gives 50% gray blending, so if you tone them with that 50%, which is what I do for Mabel, my client, we'll just do a toner, and it really does help just kind of soften. Like 50% does enough, you know.
Yeah, especially if that's your leftover third color.
Yeah.
You did like a level 6 low light and a level 4 low light, and then you just gloss everything at the end.
Absolutely.
And
Easier
give them
upkeep.
less maintenance.
Give them the dimension they're looking for, you know, for sure.
Those are really good solutions. I like it.
Gray coverage.
Gray coverage and vivid. Our guest had color a year ago. All right, she doesn't have that much gray. She's got 40% gray over medium diameter. She had color a year ago. She wants dark roots because she had hair color a year ago. It's got 40% gray, but she just wants those black roots. This vivid color represents some sort of a placement in her hair. Let's just say she wants black roots and like a flaming balayage.
Okay. Love it.
Because that looks pretty flamey to me.
I just love how I can feel your excited energy. You're just
like,
love it.
yeah.
You're just like life.
I'm like, so yes, this is like a regular client of mine. Knowing she wants it to be a little bit darker, perfect. We don't have to bring everything all the way up, but obviously I would ask her, where do you want your placements? A picture is always ideal. And then so I would go through, remove that color, go through and do probably a balayage, knowing, right, if they want the darker roots, most of them don't want to be like black and then yellow at the ends. Usually they want a little bit more dimension. I end up doing a lot of wet balayages when I do the vivids. Even if I do a lot of foliage, but then the ends that are left out kind of just hit when they're wet to get that little bit of extra. Do the root color, do the base, and then when I go through, we're going to just do different colors, right? So if it's a root melt, we know we're already going to be doing different colors. And once it's all separated, I can leave some of my foils and the foliage on, rinse out some of that wet balayage and pre-tone this. So if she wants some dimension where it's a little bit more yellow or something lighter, right, something different, then we can already go ahead and throw that in, and it's already kind of colored and separated for when we go through and wash it all out. So it's kind of like just doing, basically listening to every section of the hair and just treating it different.
I like that
way.
Listening to the hair.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of have to, especially if they're going to have a porosity at 3 to 5.
Yeah.
We can't just go through and do a full balayage or a full highlight or a full bleach out. It's not going to work. You're not going to be happy. They're not going to be happy.
So to kind of sum up, so regarding her gray, so the level 6 is her previous color from a year ago, which means she's got about 6 inches of new growth. That's where the porosity is, but that gray's already covered. It's color that's faded out to a 6. So the gray coverage is really happening on that 6 inches.
I would go through too, knowing this is still going to lift red. So when you're lifting through that permanent and she wants this pretty color, I'm not going to fight it. Like, if we go through and that new color lifts super red, cool. So we go black to red to here and then to orange to yellow. Like, again, it's like listening to your hair. Luckily, she wants this, like, warm tone. So
it's
I feel
the
like
best case scenario.
we literally don't have to fight it that much.
I'm like, worst case scenario, you get red to orange. Let's skip the yellow today.
Yeah. If we're not doing Pulp Riot, you can even do that with Wella.
Yeah.
With like, and
Magma,
so you can balayage with Magma, or you can even just do like a color melt because she's already at a level 6. And if she's wanting vivid colors, you could do your level 1, color melt that into like a 3-stroke 4, and then melt that into like, if her ends are a 6, like a 6-stroke 4-3. So like black, orange, or black, red to orange.
Yeah.
And I think with Wella that would totally work because you have that like developer still.
Yeah.
Totally.
Notice with like the conditioning colors, even like Pravana or Wella, a lot of those, even at like a level 6, if they're not like roughed up a little bit, the cuticle, like even some of those blacks, they don't look true. You probably wouldn't have to lift it at all. Just go through with that melt.
Yeah.
That's a great. I'd probably get out the door faster.
Yeah.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
All over with that permanent color.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Could you do like a gold? Is there like a gold pigment you could do with the magma?
They used to have
We
a
have a red
limoncello.
one.
Well,
I
it's
don't
called
know what it
limoncello.
is.
Limoncello.
Yellow.
I like that. That's cool. So
We have
then
a
you
red
could
one
do.
too, or like a beigey one,
There's
so
like
we
the
could
4-4
mix them.
and the 4-5.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So maybe you're like permanent, and maybe just on the end to try to pop that gold with the limoncello.
Well, and you can even mix them, which is really nice. You can mix the tones, and you can literally
True.
see in the bowl what will happen, which like
So
rarely.
Yeah.
Just depositing color. So it's they can be super helpful.
Oh, that's awesome. That's a really good solution. And I don't have those sort of, like with the color lines that I use, I would be more in the bleach with the semi-permanence. But that's a great solution. I like that. Well, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for playing. So thank y'all for watching. Go to hairdice.com and check it out. Buy some merch to support, or sign on to the mailing list to find out more about the crowdfunding campaign. Thanks again.
Yay!
Thank you guys. You guys are awesome.